Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Brannigan Communications podcast. On today's show, Kathleen Doherty-Peniston, Jessamyn Spalding, and myself, Griffin Goda. We talk about work-life balance and sanity hacks, I guess is what we're going to call them. Things that we do to kind of get through a week or to achieve that balance in our life where we don't feel too overly stressed with work and where we feel like we can work best. Find us on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Google, and Apple. And feel free to like, rate, and subscribe. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you want to hear more of. We're happy to hear people are out there listening. Thanks, and enjoy the show.
It's Thursday afternoon, and it is gloomy out.
Yes.
And it is a perfect afternoon to talk about things that keep you sane. The things that you do in your life. We're calling them sanity hacks, sanity life hacks. The things that you do to kind of, keep balance, work-life balance, mental, physical, and just overall keep yourself happy. Mm-hmm. So I'm here with Jessamyn and Griffin.
Hello. It's great to be here.
Chief happiness experts at Brannigan.
Yeah.
I mean, she is. Kathleen definitely is.
CHOs, Chief Happiness Officer.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Done.
pretty good. Do you think I'm a happy person?
You are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Well, we'll get into it.
Okay.
Yeah. So why don't we just kick it off, and why don't you both tell me, don't get into the hacks yet, but
Okay.
why you're sitting here, why this is an interesting topic to you.
So when I started at Brannigan last summer, and I was in a transitional period in my career where I knew that I wanted to be somewhere that had, funny enough, a little bit more work-life balance, a better culture, I'd say. So luckily I found it here, but I think it's very important as humans and as working professionals to have the ability to remove yourself from work.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And company culture is a huge part of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people that get it, respect it, it's necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even think of it as a separation anymore, really. It's some people can think of it as you're working and then you're not working, but it's just kind of like life, the way I see it.
You're working and life happens, and
it's part of your day, but there's other parts of my day that I fill in to kind of feel like I lived a full day and that I did everything I needed to do to kind of either reset or feel recharged or just to kind of do what I needed to do to go to bed at night and feel like I did enough in a day.
And you seem really good at that, uniquely good at that. I know I know that you're a big runner, Griffin. Mm-hmm. Jessamyn, we're going to get into you in a second. But tell me about a couple of these sanity hacks. I think running is probably, I don't want to steal your thunder, but running's probably one of them for you. Mm-hmm. But what are the things that you do in life that keep you balanced and centered?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of them is the way I kind of think about it is either whether I'm running before or after work, my day hasn't really been completed until I do that. So I just kind of make sure that it's a part of the part of my day where I'm on and I have to be doing something is running's included in that.
Right.
So then after the run,
in the morning or at night?
So I say at night, after my night run, then my day's done and I'm kind of wipe the slate clean and I can kind of enjoy the night. But until I, have that run or whatever it is, then it doesn't really feel like I have fulfilled what I needed to fulfill for the day.
But even going back to your whole mentality of you're working, yes, the day, but you're also incorporating just everyday life things that make you feel like you're living a full, complete day. And I think that's very difficult for people to do. I've never thought of it that way. I've always thought of it as here's work, and obviously life happens through that, but it's never a step back situation, which I think you do a really good job at.
Well, even a reset, to go walk for 15 minutes around lunchtime and just reset the day. Okay, morning's done.
Well, it's funny because sometimes we'll be I'll be looking for you, and we're oh, he's gone. He's probably on a walk somewhere.
He's
Really?
Gone.
He's gone.
I didn't even know you did that. Is that after meetings with me?
No. It's more just
kidding.
It's just like a feeling. It's like, okay, it's like 12:30, 12:45.
Yeah.
I just gotta like get up and like move
You gotta
and
get
like
some fresh
reset my
air.
Yeah.
brain.
Yeah.
And then I come back and I just feel like, okay, now I
Yeah.
can start over again with
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah. Fresh air does wonders for the
Yeah.
reset button.
For sure.
Jasmine, what about you? What are a couple of the things that you do?
Yeah, so I am a yoga person.
Oh,
I go to
I
hot
didn't know
yoga.
that.
Yeah, I go to hot
It's
yoga.
yogi.
Oh, yogi. I'm a yogi that
Yeah,
goes
with
to
Yogi Berra.
that goes to. I do hot yoga 3 times a week. So usually on the days that I normally go, my day isn't over until I do that. And sometimes it flip-flops depending on what the week looks like. But usually when I get out of class, I know my day is done. I know that I get to go home and take a great shower and kind of get in comfy pants and like be home. And like
Yeah.
that's usually what happens. If it's not yoga, it's going home and taking the dog for a walk.
Okay.
So
Right.
just getting outside and just reconnecting with my dog and my husband and things like that, but finding a way to put in some wellness in the week.
Yeah. Because that hot
Mm-hmm.
yoga, that is serious, that hot yoga. Holy. And no wonder why your skin's so good. Because that's really good for your
Is it
skin.
really?
Yeah, it's great for your
Oh.
pores, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that
Yeah.
actually. And I just started doing hot yoga because the studio that's close by here only offers hot yoga classes. So I was like, I'll give it a try. I went. It was good. And like, you sweat so much, which I hear
Oh.
is really good for
It's
you.
It's very
insane.
cleansing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
cleansing,
cleansing.
yeah.
Yes, that's a good
That's
good
what I
word.
meant to say. Cleansing.
Well, there's one by my house, so I started doing it just same thing, like necessity.
Yeah.
You know.
You don't want to go to a hot yoga class together?
Okay.
No, it's really, I tried it for like 6 months and it's really, it sort of could be life changing.
Yeah.
But it's really, I almost passed out too.
Yeah.
yeah,
There's
that's-
moments
you
when
have
you're
to-
like,
You have to be
hydrate.
well hydrated.
Very
I don't know
well
if I'm gonna make
hydrated.
it out of this. Yeah.
No, it's just gotta make sure you have something to eat in your tummy, some water,
Yeah.
and know what your limit is.
Yeah. So tell me this. So it's all like really good in theory, but like how do you work? Because life, as we said, like life happens. Like how do you work to really protect that time? Because I have found in my career that it's work-life balance it kind of exists, but one sort of just like flows into the other when you have client events and you have, you know, something after work or so how do you work to protect that time? Because I think that that's really important and also very hard to do.
Well,
Good question.
yeah, I think, I don't know, for me, I used to be probably more rigid about it. Like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to go home and run, and that's my schedule. But I feel like the last few years, I have just kind of let go of a little bit of that, like, this has to happen mentality.
The rigidity of it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like you said, there's things that happen after work that you want to attend or, you know, going to Bucks games. Like, if there's a game that I want to go to that night, I'm not going to probably run, or I try to run in the morning or something. Like
You plan for it.
you got to switch
Yeah.
it around. Or I guess what I'm saying mostly is like just being okay with having a day where you don't have that time, maybe
Okay.
the way it normally is, and just being okay with it because you're probably doing something else that you wanted to do anyway. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
just like kind of letting go of that a little bit.
That's a really good point. So, and it also is a really good segue. Like, Jasmine, what happens when you don't, like, let's say you have a whole week of not going to hot yoga. Like, what happens, and maybe nothing.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's that philosophy, which I think is really healthy, of it's okay to embrace life and because it just happens, right?
Yeah.
But what happens when you don't get that wellness?
I'm not as like, I think I'm a little bit more rigid. Like I like the structure of having a schedule and planning for things. But if I don't go, I feel like stagnant. I don't know if that's kind of weird. Like I feel like I need to move, and whether that's just like going outside and going for a walk, that's great. But I know that it's helping my muscles, and like that's my only.
It's your
form.
outlet.
It's my outlet, and it's like my only form of like physical activity that I like to do. So you know, you just gotta.
So
you
it's
know,
that or like Netflix all.
Yeah, essentially, and like
Or the other.
essentially, but you know, for example, okay, perfect example. Monday, you know, I was working on a client report that just really needed to get done. I went home.
Thank you, by the way.
Oh, you're very welcome. I went home like had dinner, kept working on it. So I didn't go to my Monday night yoga class, but I went on Tuesday because it worked out perfectly because it was taught by a teacher that I really enjoy and like don't get to see that often. So being able to have that moment where you're like, it's okay if I don't go this one time, like you have 5 more days to go or whatever it may be.
Right.
Yeah, to that point, like there's probably like a 5-day threshold for me where I just get an internal feeling like, okay, like if we go on a trip or something like that, and maybe because a lot of times on vacation, I probably won't run a lot either. So like, then you start to feel it like, okay, I got to go for a run pretty soon. Like you start to feel
Like
it.
lay off the nachos.
It's just like
Yeah.
if you don't do it for
and
long
the rum
enough.
punches.
Well, when we have like
I'll
bagels and
always lay off the
cookies
rum
here.
punches.
Sorry, the bourbon old fashions.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. I mean, we obviously get bagels in here sometimes and cookies,
Yeah.
and I love sweets, so I have no self-control when it comes to that. So I was like, I should probably balance this out with something else.
So I've been listening a lot of, so that's a really good point, podcasts. I know.
So
Yeah,
meta.
Very meta.
but that talk about not feeling bad.
Yes.
If you do eat those like the carbs
Yeah.
because we live in a culture where not unlike working hard and never disconnecting, we also live in a culture where if you eat a bagel or you don't go on your run, then you just have these feelings of like shame or like I'm bad.
Yeah, I know.
Or,
It's really bad.
And like it's not healthy, right? I don't think it is.
I totally agree. Like I try to not point that out to myself because it's like if I want a chocolate chip cookie, I'm going to eat a chocolate chip cookie.
And you're going to be okay with that.
Yes.
Yes.
Comparison is like the enemy of joy. There's like some weird saying like that. Like if you're comparing yourself to others all the time, obviously like social media, if somebody's working out, you're almost like legally mandated to share it. And then, so if you have a feed full of people who are showing that they're doing all these like physically great things or they're eating
Or running, they
awesome
just
or
did a
whatever.
marathon or,
And then you're like, well, I had a bagel today. Wow, I suck. Like,
I'm like literally the worst.
but it's like everybody has that stuff too.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
nobody talks about it.
But going back to the theme of this, it's like these sanity hacks. It's not just about, I mean, running's great and yoga and all of that, but also sanity is like self-care in a sense of just being really good to yourself, right?
Yes.
And not putting yourself through that, like the social media. So
Try
that's
not
actually,
to, right,
I try
yeah.
not to. But it's a really good segue to another thought I have, which is mobile devices and life balance. So whether it's like TV or your mobile or your tablet or your laptop and bringing that home, because we obviously operate in a business that if a client needs something at 8 o'clock, the client needs it at 8 o'clock. And, having, been in that world a long time, it's sort of normalized for me, but like, how do you disconnect from your mobiles at night? Like, what do you do?
I make a bad habit of like taking my phone wherever I go. And, like when I get home, I like put it on the kitchen table, and then if I shower, I like bring it into the bathroom with me, which is kind of silly because like why?
Because you're used to having
Because you're used to having it, yes,
appendage.
yeah, no, but like I'm trying to just like when I get home, like put it somewhere, like charge it or in the bedroom wherever I'm not at, so I can like be present and just whether that's like just hanging out on the couch or just like washing dishes, like you just have that sense of like being disconnected. But I really like to go home and like go home. I will take my laptop home with me because it's mine and use it for work sometimes and for personal things. But I like to make the habit of like, if I can go home and not look at my computer again.
So you
that's
try
great.
to just really
Yeah. But
because sometimes, and Griffin will get to you in a second, like I feel like sometimes for me some anxiety comes out of if I don't check it and I'm missing something, then I feel better when I do check it. I'm not saying all night, but what about you?
That's
what do
true.
you do?
I guess it's a mix of both.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
like I want to check in every so often throughout a night, but I think for the most part I try to disconnect and like be at home. So like for running, I don't take it with me. Usually it's in the kitchen with me when I'm cooking, which is like another life sanity hack for me.
Right.
But,
So
yeah.
food. So back to food.
yeah, but the
we
phone
like-
is
I
there,
love to
but you're
cook.
not checking it, so
Yeah.
it's
Unless your
fine.
recipe is like.
Yeah, unless your
on-
recipe, unless you're following that. So it's like
But that's
sometimes the phone's
soothing.
good. Yeah.
Cooking
oh,
is
yeah, for
like
sure.
awesome.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure that all varies with like we're all at different levels and stages in our career, so I'm sure like your connectivity to your cell phone kind of reflects on like your role, right?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's more like what Kathleen's saying, just like making sure there's not like anything with the little red exclamation point in the inbox at night, you know.
Or you get some like, frenzied text, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, like that's the business we're in. And I
Right.
say this to Tom all the time, like that is the path we've chosen.
Mm-hmm.
If you continue to choose it year after year and continue to excel at it, I mean, that's part of the deal, but there's also some wonderful like benefits. But that's why I think this conversation is so, it's so important because it's easy to just spend your time like sending emails and that's not just in our industry, every industry,
Yeah,
but
right,
ours
right.
in particular. When you're a service-based business, it's just that's it. That's what you do.
What do you do, Kathleen?
What do I do
Yes.
for mobile devices?
Yeah, or like to disconnect
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah. Oh, turning the microphone around. I love to walk. I ran a bunch like in my 20s and 30s and I mean it just now I love walking. I love the fresh air.
Yep.
My husband and I go to the J, we call it. It's in Fox Point, and that they have a pool, and so we'll go and sometimes do the executive workout, which is like the massage chair in the pool and the hot tub, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
So like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
do that. So it's not always about like I have to like have this really rigorous. Sometimes it is just about that self-care.
yes.
We love to cook together. So we love that, like a new recipe or, and travel. I think it's really important to get away, and even if it's for a long weekend, and use your vacation, and just I think it's really important to do that
Yeah.
because there's greater parts of life or other parts of life than work.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Well, and then when you come back, you're usually refreshed and ready to go again. So I mean, traveling by itself, there's so much value to going somewhere different and just, even if it is, like you said, for 2 or 3 days, just figuring out a different city for a few days and exploring that. But you have to reset yourself again. And I think that the travel helps with that.
yeah, and we are both in the same industry, my husband and
Yeah.
I. So it's very we are not always really good at it, but like putting the phones away, like literally putting your phone away and
Yeah,
being
that
present,
never
which is what you
happens,
said,
yeah.
And your husband's in media.
Well, he's in news, so
News.
he's always even if he's not like
working.
he's just like clearing out his inbox because they just get so much stuff.
Yeah.
So
All the
that's-
press releases we're sending him.
Yes,
I mean,
all
is
the
that-
time.
okay, perfect.
He's like, it's for my wife. I'm just gonna delete that.
Conflict of interest.
Yeah, conflict of interest.
So another life hack, or sanity hack, going back to the theme, is literally saying no. So how good are you both at saying no?
I'm not good at.
No, you're
saying
not
no.
good at saying no.
No, I'm not. I will say yes to everything,
Okay.
which is something that I'm trying to work on. Yeah, I don't know. This goes back to your Enneagrams.
Oh boy.
Which
Callback.
But you're a 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm a 6.
You're a 6. And listeners, try your Enneagram profile. Maybe we have a website that we can.
Yeah. We have
Direct them to
we actually have
Brannigan
another
Top Biz.
episode. I think we have
Yeah,
another
episode 5 dives into that, I
There you
believe.
go.
Oh, episode 5.
Mhm. So
So you don't say no.
is
It's
that
very
like a
difficult.
weeknight thing you're saying? Like you get stuff that comes up during the week and you're just like, oh, I have to do that and have to
Well, I think it's like supporting people on projects because I want to
Oh.
be involved, because I want
I
to
gotcha.
like learn more about this area of our business or our client, and it's like, yeah, I want to do this because I want to help you and I also want to grow professionally.
And you know
that's
what?
kind
There's
of it.
nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Like, or, I
Yeah.
mean, there is nothing wrong with that. It's just.
But there's also a difference between like if someone's like, hey, can you, go to the store for me at like 5:00 in the morning on a random day. You know, like that's a really bad
Who would
example.
ask you to do that?
I don't know, but I'm saying like,
I think you should tomorrow
yeah.
go to the store
Wellness Friday.
for bagels
For bagels.
and lots of carbs
Yeah.
for tomorrow. Just kidding.
I don't know. I feel like it depends on what that thing that you're getting asked about.
Yeah, I guess what I thought of right away was like, there's always some event or something on the weekend that you could do, whether it's
that's
like,
interesting.
whether it's like family or whether it's just something around town with friends or whatever it is. And sometimes you just don't feel like doing all of them. So I've been getting better at trying to just say,
You're a social
we're
butterfly.
We're not going to do that right now. No.
Well, like the whole FOMO thing, like if you're
Yeah.
missing out and like, saying yes to everything, I feel like I've built my life has been like, yes. I totally want. And I do think that there's something to saying yes to things and being open to them. But then when your heart's not in it, you have to say no and learn to say no, which has been my litmus test on it, you know?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
if your heart's not in something, then you're not going to
You're
enjoy
not-
it anyway.
Right.
Whatever it is,
Yes.
Right. It's equally valuable to say yes and no, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're all, I think, by nature, like people pleasers,
Right.
Especially like where we are in like at the industry we're in and a service business. It's like you want to say yes and make sure people are happy and
Yeah.
but not always easy.
Right.
So who do you both admire when it comes to work-life balance, or somebody that has like you think does this really well, whether it's someone you know or I don't know, somebody you've read about?
That's a very good question.
Totally putting you on the
That
spot.
is a very on the spot question. Can I say I admire Griffin?
You can.
Only because like I feel like you and I, we work well together, but we're also very different on how we like approach like work. Like I feel like you're a little bit more fluid, a little bit more relaxed, and you like go out for walks. Super chill, Griffin. But
Because I go for walks.
yeah, well, I know that sounds silly, but like
I know,
sometimes I'm like, I feel like sometimes I feel like I don't leave my desk. And like I should go outside and enjoy the nice weather when we do have nice weather, because it's Wisconsin and it's the Midwest. But
And by the way, that's a personal choice. I just want everyone to know
yes,
that
I'm not.
that's
I'm not.
not what we condone.
Disclaimer.
Yeah,
Disclaimer.
I don't mean that
Little
we are.
PSA here.
Nick,
Yeah,
add
no.
this in post.
No, Brannigan is a great place to work. I'm
just
very
kidding.
happy here.
I just feel like to that specific point, like I probably wouldn't have as good of ideas that I might have or be able to work as well if I didn't go move or something. So that's because I've had days like that too. So I think it's just me understanding that like the days where I don't move as much, I feel more lethargic and my brain is going at like 2%. And the days where and the days where I make the time to, either get up and walk or, just go around the office and talk to people more, then it's like I'm just more engaged, you know what I mean? So
Or
that's
it's
just figuring that out. Yeah.
Totally.
And just like parents in general, like you have kids and you like they're your responsibility and you have to take them to certain things. And I think that, like trying to organize life to where you are still dedicated to your kids, I think that's something to admire, the work-life time management balance situation.
For sure.
I think that's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. My parents, I'm always shocked at how much they can fit into a day and still be like pretty relaxed and be like, yeah, it was a good day, whatever. I did this.
The Godas are super chill. I bet your parents are like just.
My mom's probably more of the one who I get like whatever amount of like rigidity I have, like I have to do some sort of a workout or whatever, and then I have to do like this, and this. She's more like that. Like she'll get up in the morning and work, come home, do a bunch of chores. She's like Energizer Bunny. Like she's just always moving around. And then my dad's probably more of the like being able to kind of go with the flow a little bit more, but then still like pack a bunch into his day, and still like come home and like have time to like cook because he loves to cook. So giving that time to like, obviously that's like the decompression of like his day. And I feel like I kind of have that too, where it's like cooking at the end of a day is like, everything else is done. All I have to do is like focus on making something, and that's like
eating.
a good like, and then eating, and then you're great, and then you can like,
Yeah, that's nice.
you know, it's so that's where I feel like it's kind of a good blend.
So who do you admire? Is it you?
I guess I would say my parents for
parents.
those. Yeah, I think it's just impressive, like how even like when we were still in the house, my brother and I, but even still now, like they just do so much,
Yeah.
and they, you know, then they want to, like they're not retired or anything, but
Yeah.
they are just not content to just kind of like have simple like
Right.
work, come home, go to sleep. They're always out doing stuff, and they're attacking life, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's where I get that from.
Well, and that's where like health, as you start to get older, and you know, like staying active and engaged, and I think is a really healthy thing, but not overdoing it.
Not overdoing it.
See, that's the whole balance. That's the mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So, what other like tips do you have for our listeners? Like, if somebody's out there, you know, sort of trying to find it, or you know, really struggling with work-life balance, like what tips would you have for people?
Please note that we're not experts in this area. But,
Well, I would say,
You're not supposed to say that.
oh.
like to the email
Edit
point,
that out, Nick. Edit out.
to like the constant like communication point, like you kind of, there are certainly instances where you need to be on the ball and responsive depending on whatever the situation is, but you also, I think, kind of have to draw a line for yourself. And you know, if it's like 6 o'clock and you just got home and you want to go do something else, but you feel compelled to respond to like 4 emails, maybe that you could have waited till the next day to do, you're kind of like making yourself available in the evening then for those kind of like lower level things.
Right, you're setting a precedent.
Right, you're setting a precedent. So you kind of need to decide what that threshold is for yourself and be like, you know, if this isn't insanely important, if this is truly something that can wait till the morning, then let it wait, and you kind of try to let it go out of your brain.
Assess the situation.
Yeah.
Well, and to me, it's like, what's the why? Why am I doing this? Am I doing this to show people like an email at 8 p.m.? Am I doing this because the client really needs something? You know, so what's the motivation behind it? Which, you know, I think is an important piece of that. You know,
Because in terms of like how else are you going to figure it out? You have to, if you feel like you don't have a great work-life balance, you have to try to assess what you're doing. And I feel like a lot of it in today's world is like, yeah, I came home and I just sit down and I just start working again. You know, it's like, well,
and there are jobs
and do you have to?
and
right?
do you have to? Is
Right.
the right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's certainly a lot of jobs require that, especially
Yeah.
global companies where you have to get back online, and you know, and that's a reality. But it's like, then how do you protect?
Then you got to find some other
Some
part of the
time.
day that you can protect.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's morning. I've tried to get better at getting up in the morning and running because I just like it in the morning a lot. But it's just it's tougher. It's tougher to get up. But then once you get up, it's nice. So, you know.
You never regret doing it.
Exactly.
Right? The anticipation of it is the tough part.
Getting there,
The
getting to the
5.
gym or the studio or whatever it may
Yeah.
be.
But
Getting
as soon
out
as
the
you're
door.
there, you're like, okay, game on.
I don't know. Do
Yeah.
you have tips? Whiteboards? Jasmine's a huge whiteboard fan.
Yeah, Jasmine
am.
has a whiteboard outside of her office.
It's like a white billboard, I
Yeah.
would say.
It's large and in charge, that's for sure. I don't know, that's a very good question. I mean, just
What would you want to do more of for a work-life balance?
I don't know.
Walking?
Walking would be good, but like I mean, walking is fine. A good way to break up your day. Like the other day, I did a quick errand. Went to go buy a thank you card down at Broadway. This is not sponsored.
But it could be.
It could be. Broadway paper. I just went there. I grabbed it was a Mother's Day card. planning ahead.
Oh, wow.
Spoiler.
That's another sanity hack right there, planning.
Yeah, planning
Instead of
ahead.
scrambling and running around.
And running errands during the day.
Yes.
Super.
But it was
Yes.
nice to like get outside and like have that cold air hit your face and kind of get back to it. But just assessing like what you think is important and what you find important, and if you, find that piece to like put your phone away to where it's not visible, because it's just you just pick it up for no reason.
Well, and it's not like, I mean, none of us have our, as Tom would say, like our finger on the nuclear button, right? I mean, it's like, is anyone really trying to get a hold of you? That no, it's just, it becomes habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a twitch.
It's a, it's and it's real. It's real. So, yeah, I think like the running errands and planning, and I'm gonna, oops.
We have
Edit that out, please.
we have a fourth guest, Siri.
But we have a podcast, a previous podcast on Ashley and organization, and I think that a sanity hack for those that are like uber ultra organized is like decluttering your life and making sure that things have a place, and and not we're not all great at that.
Yeah.
But I do think that's a I don't know if that's not work-life balance, but it's planning ahead.
Yeah, that helps with it. I think like everybody wants to get to like the veg out part of their night, right? Where you're just like sitting there watching TV. And I think that that always feels better to me, that part of your day, when you have like done all the other things. Yeah.
A ton. And you've gone to the gym, or you've gone running or yoga, or
even if you just like cooked a good meal or something, it's like, all right, now I can sit down and enjoy this veg out time.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of a balance too.
Yeah.
Like if you just go straight from work to like not doing anything, if it's like just the two extremes, then I don't know. I think that's good sometimes, but I think you need a little bit more of like you got to like earn it a little bit.
Yeah, planning is how I know when I can go do that thing that I want to do for myself.
And you have to schedule it sometimes. If it's not on my calendar, I don't do it. I mean, that's kind of dramatic, but it's kind of true. Yeah. Like I need to put, go get card for mom, because then I know I have to go do it, and it's a real thing.
1,000%. Yeah. That's why I put my yoga days on there.
It's very smart.
Because you can't cancel on yourself.
I can't cancel on myself. I have to, it's and that the other thing is like with like lunch. It's obviously a good habit to like bring your lunch and like you save money, things like that. But it's like if I want to take a brief walk down the block to grab something like for myself, like I'm going to allow myself to do that. It's gonna make me a happier person, more productive.
I think having a little flexibility with that stuff is good.
Giving yourself permission to go grab lunch or take a walk, or and not thinking that it's like if I step out outside the office, or that it's gonna fall, because it's not. Right. And I mean, it takes time to learn that, but so anything like we missed, any sanity hacks or anything that like any parting words?
I don't know. I like having things to look forward to in addition to all these things. So that goes into the travel. Like even if it's not this week, knowing that something's coming up is huge, I think, with a mental, just kind of giving you that little boost. Even like things I'd like to have now, and this kind of goes into being flexible, I like to have things during the week to kind of look forward to. Yeah. So for me, it's Bucks games a lot of the times, because that's what I do.
Fear the deer.
Correct.
Go Bucks.
But, even if it's like a random weeknight dinner, we stay in and cook a lot, but, sometimes randomly we'll just go grab dinner on a Wednesday, and that's really cool too. That's nice. So, just like having little things to look forward to, I think is pretty helpful for that balance too.
I think so. But also on the flip side of that, scheduling yourself 5 nights a week.
Too much.
Yeah.
You would probably be the first person in this room to have done that.
I have done that. I've done that a lot, and it's too much.
Right.
Because then you're kind of burning at both ends, especially if you get up in the morning and work out or whatever, and you can do it for a little while, but you can't do it. But I do agree with you. A couple of things during the week to look forward to, and
I think it's nice. Yeah.
That's a good idea. Like I feel like I see it like very like Monday, Friday like work, but throwing in like something fun in there, that'd be nice.
That's the thing. Like, and
Yeah,
going
gotta have fun.
going to like games or whatever has kind of opened me up to that more. Because I used to be more like, okay, Monday through Friday, run, cook something, hang out at home. But now it's like, okay, well, I'll do that for some of the days, and then there's a few nights a week where I've got something going on, and that's cool too.
And I also feel like we've gotten out of this polar vortex, right?
Finally.
Well, that's a
Literally,
huge.
like just.
Knocking
Right.
wood.
So I mean, you have like the warm months are coming, and I mean that's like a perfect time to, even if you are booked 5 nights a week,
Right.
I'm gonna talk out of
Then
both
it's
sides
better.
of my mouth, and you're like, okay, well, this isn't gonna last forever, and then I can go back to
yeah.
the polar vortex, like watching a movie or Netflix or something, right?
Yeah.
But,
Well, like summer hours, right? Like
Yep.
that's
that
something
too.
that we
that's
are-
a work-life
Yeah, like
balance
we're
thing.
very
For
thankful
sure.
to have those, and like once the warmer weather comes around and that kicks in, like that, like it opens up your days like so much more. You're like, oh my god, I have so much more time to do the things I love to do.
Yep.
So
Yeah, if we
Longer
did this
days.
podcast in the middle of winter, it might have been very different.
Yeah. We wouldn't
Darker.
have had anything to say. Very dark.
yeah.
And on that note,
Should we end on that?
I think, very dark. But summer's coming.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great few months. And thank you both for joining today.
Yeah, thank you.
It was a pleasure.
This was fun.